As part of representing ASCOPS members, I've been asked to help with exemption requests. One of the most common things that I'm asked is what to include in these requests to increase your chance of success. In this video, I'll talk about the legal standards involved. I'll cover what you need to consider in filling out a request for an exemption to a vaccine mandate based upon a sincerely held moral or religious belief. And I'll give you information on the process that I've found to be most effective for employees seeking vaccine exemptions. I'm Steve Serbalik, and I'm a panel attorney for ASCOPS here in Arizona. First, this is a topic summary and not legal advice. Also, I'm discussing my understanding of the law behind vaccine mandates. Nothing I'm saying in this video reflects my opinion on mandates generally or the COVID vaccine specifically, nor does it express the opinions of any organizations that I regularly represent. If you want to know more about the state of mandates here in Arizona, please check out the video linked above and in the description below. Now, what to consider in requesting a vaccine exemption. First, don't lie. Second, generally speaking, government employers offer medical or moral or religious accommodations to employees if these accommodations don't impair the ability of an employee to perform the essential job functions of that employee. Medical exemptions should be backed up by licensed doctor information, but moral or religious exemptions are highly personal and must be individualized and sincerely held by the employee. Just saying that you don't want to do something or you think that something is a bad idea is likely not a legally sufficient reason to receive a moral or religious exemption. When it comes to COVID vaccine exemptions, way too many people are finding stuff on the internet or using form letters from pastors that are unlikely to be sufficient to have an employee demonstrate that they personally have a moral or religious exemption. So don't use form letters. It's critical that what you submit is based upon your own individual moral or religious beliefs. In helping craft your exemption request, here are the questions that you should think about and plan to answer in your request. 1, you'll need to describe the nature of your objection to the COVID-19 vaccination requirement. For this one, you are unlikely to be successful if you say that you don't trust the government or that you think employers shouldn't have the authority to issue mandates. Courts set the standards, and you need to describe a deeply and sincerely held moral or religious reason why you object to the COVID-19 vaccine. 2, you'll need to describe whether complying with the COVID-19 vaccination requirement would substantially burden your religious exercise, and if so, how. This question involves you answering what your sincere beliefs are and why receiving the COVID vaccine would substantially impact or impair your personal beliefs. 3, you should describe how long you held the moral or religious belief that's the basis of your objection. So if you have held your belief for a long time, or if it developed in a circumstance well prior to COVID, these factors would weigh in your favor. 4, you should describe whether, as an adult, you received any vaccines against any other diseases, and if you did, what vaccine you received most recently to the best of your recollection. If you received other vaccines willingly as an adult, but you don't want to receive the COVID vaccine, this weighs against an employer granting an accommodation. So if you had prior vaccines, you'd need to explain why these vaccines are different than COVID. 5, if you do not have a religious objection to the use of all vaccines, you need to describe why your objection is limited to particular vaccines. Again, like the question before, this one explores if your moral or religious objection that you're claiming to the vaccine for COVID is consistent with your past actions. 6, if there are any other medicines or products that you don't use because of the religious belief underlying your objection, you should identify them. Same concept, do your past actions and choices related to medications reflect the moral or religious belief that you're claiming? 7, provide any additional information that you think would be helpful in reviewing your request. Here, you can talk about mitigating information, like if you already had COVID and have natural immunity, you can mention that here. And if you're willing to take other mitigation measures like wearing a mask or social distancing or regular testing, you can mention that as well. 8, describe your job duties. If you don't regularly interact with people in close quarters, that could be useful. Now that you know the questions that employers will likely consider, here's my recommendation. Before you reach out to anyone else, craft a response that answers those 8 questions that I gave before and that are up on the screen now. Take your time and include as much information as possible. Then, before you submit your answers to your employer, have them reviewed by a lawyer. I can have a personal, confidential, privileged consultation where I can help my clients articulate their exemption requests as effectively as possible. So the bottom line is, if your employer is implementing a vaccine mandate and you believe that you qualify for an exemption, don't go at it alone. ASCOPS covers consultations with lawyers regarding vaccine exemption requests, and lawyers like me are here to help. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the section down below. Please share this video and like and subscribe so that YouTube shows it to more people. I'm Steve Cerbalic. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there.